What's up, Benji? What's up, co-counsels? It took a lot out of me not to go live last night because Mr. Burgess has a lot of explaining to do. It was yesterday was live. I actually enjoyed yesterday's cross-examination. But before we get into that, I was trying to find a specific timestamp. Before we get into that, I just want to take a look at some of these clips because we're gonna have to jump to yesterday's cross-examination and then proceed to today's cross-examination. But I was trying to find, unless was I imagining it? I don't know. Because I'm almost certain that yesterday on Monday, Brennan played some clips of Karen Reed, but I just could not find them. I thought he played the clips. Wait, did he play them? I don't know. I'll have to go back. But we're gonna go in reverse chronological order. So we're starting off with a bit of today, and then we're gonna jump into yesterday. Yeah, I am sharing my screen. Okay, let's get into this.
Mr. Brennan?
I'd like to play a number of clips.
Hold on, somebody
Let's
whispered.
begin with clip 23.
I need to go back. Not help myself. Where's my what?
Mr. Brennan?
I'd like to play a number of clips. If I could begin with clip 23.
Okay, what's 23?
So we approach from the north, we actually missed the turn. And John says to me, it's Fairview, we just passed it, it's back there, it's on my left. I said, all right, so I pull nose into a driveway and back out onto the street.
Okay, so I suppose the relevance of this is to confirm the 3-point turn.
I now almost
Yeah, they did so much talking. Like,
and then come from the north onto
why were you doing
Fairview.
all this
I now
talking?
So it says to me, it's approach.
Hold on.
So we approach from the north, we actually missed the turn. And John says to me, it's Fairview, we just passed it, it's back there, it's on my left. I said, all right, so I pull nose into a driveway and back out onto the street, which I now own as Cedar Crest, and then come from the north onto Fairview.
All right.
I'd like to next play clip 25.
What's happening here? Yeah, the reason I have to re-listen to these is because my volume is usually incredibly low at work, and off half the time I don't know what they're saying. Or at least what she's saying.
At 12:41, I leave a voicemail to John, and you can clearly, and this will probably be played on Monday, you can clearly hear me pull into John's garage. You can hear my car sensors beeping as I come close to the sides of the garage. And then you hear the car go off, and then you hear the slight ding, ding, ding as I open the door, shut the door. I had high heels on that night. You hear me walk in, go into the stairs up into the kitchen, shut the door. You hear me walk in the kitchen. It's like a full minute long. That's at 12:41.
Okay, so I suppose that has to do with timeline. Here's the thing. I hope, as much as the defendant in this case bears no burden of proof, I hope that, I mean, there's a reason why they're playing these clips, but I hope that, or not that I hope, it really doesn't matter to me, but I do question whether Karen Reed's, I'm going to call it testimony, whether her testimony undermines the defense expert's testimony. Okay. Benji says, yeah, it's way too early, Benji. I don't expect you to, I don't expect you to watch the early lives. It's usually Allie and I, and Brooklyn joined this morning. Okay. All right. Benji said, let's go. I'm really excited today because, ooh, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Burgess. What's up, Allie? What's up, Fever? Fever has been missing in action. Hopefully, you've been, doing okay, just working. All right. Let's go back. Oh, and okay, let me play this and then I'll give my recap.
And finally, clip 24.
Okay.
I do. I mean, John and I argued the morning of the 28th, Friday morning. So we think he died right around 12:25, 12:30 on the early morning of January 29th.
Wait, what? Wait. Am I Hold on. Let's go back. She said what? What? Hold on. Wait. Pump the brakes. Am I tripping or no? Listen, I don't think I heard that right. Let's play this again. Do we have closed caption? Disable, enable, disable maybe again, and then enable just to be sure they're working. What did she say?
And finally, clip 24.
I do. I mean, John and I argued the morning of the 28th, Friday morning. So we think he died right around 12:25, 12:30 on the early morning of January 29th.
Karen Reed. What did this woman just say? Did she just say that John O'Keefe died in the early hours? What on earth? Hold on. I need to play this one more time. I'm sorry. But am I tripping or did Hmm. Because here's the thing. If what Karen the only way she can clear this stuff up is to get on the stand. That would be awful. That would be terrible. If they put her on that stand, Karen Reed is definitely going to be screwed. Okay. I if what she's saying here, if we accept what's coming out of Karen Reed's mouth in this moment, if she is telling this interviewer that that they argued that morning and that the boyfriend died in the early hours around what 12:25 or whatever it is that she said, that would have been that. Oh, so that explains why Brennan played the previous clip where she's, making the sounds and talking about how she pulled into his garage around 12:41. So she's basically saying that the man died before she even made it to his house. What on earth? Actually, again, I could not hear what she was saying when I was at work, but I need to play that one more time. I was about to come up here and act up talking about Mr. Burgess, but let me listen to these clips together. I wish they'd actually shown the defendant's reaction. What on earth? Ugh. Listen, this is if any criminal defendant, if anybody is to take lessons from this Karen Reed trial, shut the fuck up. Like that is the ultimate. That I mean, don't drink and drive either. But that is the ultimate lesson in this trial. Like, shut it. What? So I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to. I need to listen to this one more time together. I won't pause anymore.
So we approach from the north, we actually missed the turn, and John says to me, it's Fairview, we just passed it, it's back there, it's
Okay.
on my left. I said, all right,
Point
so I
turn.
pull nose into a driveway and back out onto the street, which I now own as Cedar Crest, and then come from the north onto Fairview.
Like the next play, clip 25.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I was not prepared for this. Mm-mm-mm. Ooh.
At 12:41, I leave a voicemail to John. You can
12:41.
clearly, and this will probably be played on Monday, you can clearly hear me pull into John's garage. You can hear my car sensors beeping as I come close to the sides of the garage.
Just shut up.
And then you hear the car go off, and then you hear the slight ding, ding, ding as I open the door, shut the door. I had high heels on that night. You hear me walk in, go into the stairs up into the kitchen.
I was not
shut the door,
focused
you
on
hear
the
me walk
clothes
in
she
the
was
kitchen.
wearing.
It's like a full minute long.
So I'm gonna see what she's wearing in the third clip.
And finally, clip 24.
Mm-mm-mm. It definitely
I
different
do.
interview.
I mean, I'll tell you. John and I argued the morning of the 28th, Friday morning. So he died. We think he died right around 12:25.
Girl.
On the early morning of January 29th.
Girl, that girl. Oh my goodness. What on earth?
Thank you.
What on
I
earth?
have these for
Oh
submission.
my goodness. This is, she's giving me a headache. She's giving me a headache. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yeah, Fever was like, what did you just say? I don't know how to respond. This is a completely different video. This is different. Ooh. Ooh. Allie, I've always wondered, how do you get up that early though? I appreciate the love though, but how do you get up that early? I mean, I do get up that early to get my kid ready for school, but still. Okay. Hey. Uh, 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 I am really floored. I do not know what to say. I, I don't know what to say. I do not know, because again, I did not watch these interviews and documentaries with the exception of the one, or at least part of which we watched on here together, and that was not even complete. But here's the thing. Brennan was able to get the unedited version, or the clips that they did not want anybody else's. I am just what? My mind is blown. Anyway, so Ali says, lesson 2, exercise your right to keep your damn mouth shut and keep using that right until the end. It's your damn right to shut up. Like, just shut up. Anyways, let us move on. Let us move on to Mr. Burgess. Where do these people get their law degrees from? Well, anyway, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Let's find yesterday. No, that's not it. Here. What? Oh, Mr. Burgess. But I thought yesterday, am I mistaken? I thought yesterday some clips were played early on. I thought some clips were played early on because I wanted to, when I came home from work, part of my plan was to listen. Bev Canoni seems so lovely when she's talking to the jurors. Like she appears to be very lovely, and then she gets into a role. Maybe it's just me, but she appears to be smiling a bit more this time around, and it kind of softens her a little bit.
You're on the call Nicholas Bradford.
I guess I was wrong about that. I actually thought they played some clips. I guess I'm just mistaken. I'm trying to find these clips before we get to Mr. Burgess, because once I'm done with this video, I'm not coming back here. Okay. What happened? Did they play any clips or no? I just cannot believe that girl said, because again, my biggest issue with the event in this Karen Reed trial have been, I've always been questioning why Karen Reed would assume that the boyfriend was hit by a plow. No, can you go back? Go. Oh my goodness. No, you. Okay, can you close the door, please, Ada? Okay, close the door. Parenting. I don't know why she came in here to take my phone. She really needs to go to bed. But in any event, my issue with Karen Reed, as far as Jan McCabe, the niece, and the third individual, I don't know, I forgot her name a few days ago, and I still cannot remember her name. I've been trying to understand why Karen Reed would. I don't know why that would be her initial thought, that he was run over by a plow, he was hit by a plow, anything along those lines. Because if she's leaving, or if she left him at that residence, why wouldn't she be calling those folks and asking if he's still there, right? That has always been, I've been wary about those accounts. In any event, let us move on. Ali says she definitely didn't help herself any talking or telling her side of the story about what happened. They shot. I just cannot believe she was doing all of that while represented by at least two attorneys. I'm puzzled. Anyways, let's see. Are there any more clips?
Call Carl Miyasako to the stand.
No, I don't know. Did I imagine that? I thought.
Hair sample, but
We're gonna get into
Have you
Mr.
tested?
Burgess
Have you tested your study?
in a little
Good
bit.
morning.
Oh boy, Mr. Burgess. What on earth? And I mean, here's the thing though. You cannot. I don't know that Karen Reed saying that this man died in the early hours around 12, whatever that time is, before she made it to his residence. I don't exactly know if you can argue that she just misspoke. I don't know. That's difficult. That is a difficult position to put yourself in. I guess there are no videos. I sure thought some videos were played. No. I guess Mr. Burgess is just going to get on the stand. He's going to get destroyed, obliterated.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay. So there were no videos. Let's just get into cross.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
We need to watch this from.
Your
Sheesh.
profession contradict the initial of data and principles to legal. I want to get cover some principles and that
Okay. I like this guy.
is something that generally
I
as
really like him.
you spell your first name. Good afternoon, Mr. Burgess.
Good afternoon.
You spell your first name Shannon with one
Nation.
N. Do I have that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You describe yourself as a
Look at Alice,
digital
so pretty.
forensic examiner, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You use the term forensics often in your analysis.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And
Information.
would you agree that generally the accepted definition of forensics is something that relates to, that's used in, and is suitable for a court of law?
Yes, I would.
And so when you're
Dang, why is he doing all that coffee
working
now?
in forensics, even in your office, you understand that eventually it's very likely that whatever work you're working on is going to end up or could end up in a court of law, correct?
Right.
Correct.
And you mentioned in your direct examination the scientific method, right?
Correct.
And I was pleased to hear mention of the scientific method. And I just want to cover some principles with regard to the scientific method. But before I do, I just want to see how forensics envelopes in certain items. So forensics applies scientific methods and principles to legal matters, particularly in criminal investigations, right?
Correct.
It's a fair statement.
Yes.
Thank you. And forensics are used to help lawyers in their preparation, correct?
Yes, that'd be correct.
And it's used to help judges in courts of law.
Yes, that is correct.
And it's also used to help juries.
This time,
and
Mr. Burgess
jurors
has
to
no
understand
idea.
the results
about
of
to hit him.
scientific tests, correct?
Correct.
So you know, and you have to presume that as you are performing your analysis, as I stated earlier, that this information is going to end up in a court of law.
Watch this.
Correct.
And then does that heighten sort of the analysis that you need to do and the sharpness and the accuracy, given that it's going to end up in that form?
It can, depending on context.
And is the primary goal of forensic science to uncover the truth and to provide objective evidence that can be presented in a court?
Yes, it is.
Would you generally agree that the work of forensic science, including the work that you do, is intended to be used in court because scientific evidence can be very powerful, and therefore the forensic science must be accurate?
Correct.
It must be methodical.
Okay, so
Correct.
There must be a method, right?
Right.
okay. So I suppose I probably judged Mr. Burgess incorrectly because again, usually when I'm listening to these on my phone while I'm at work, it's a really tiny screen. So it appeared to me as if, or at least that's when I noticed, right, that he was reading the face. It looks like he was reading the face before the hard questions even hit him. So
It must be
this
deep.
is just what he looks like. I don't want to go back to, I don't know, even on direct, he is a little flushed in the face. So I suppose that's just what he looks like when he's testifying.
Detailed.
Yes.
And above all, it must be unbiased and truthful, correct?
That is correct.
And all of this, is it fair to say, distills down to reliability?
Correct.
And reliability is a desired characteristic of the forensic scientist.
Yes.
You want people to be able to rely upon your work.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And credibility and honesty is part of reliability, and it's a fundamental component of that, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You've stated that you hold your opinions to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. You said that several times on direct, correct?
Correct.
And because the discipline of forensics involves the application of the scientific method, as you stated on direct, you therefore, of course, applied the scientific method throughout your analysis, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Would you agree with the following statement of the scientific method? And tell me whether, well, let me start with, you understand, you know, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST?
Yes, I am familiar. Yeah.
And would you agree with a definition of the scientific method as the systematic pursuit of knowledge involving the recognition and definition of a problem, the collection of data through observation and experimentation, analysis of the data, the formulation, evaluation, and testing of hypotheses, and where possible, the selection of a
A
final
lot of
hypothesis.
talking. Come on now.
I know there's a lot there, and if you'd like me to break any of it down, you let me know.
No, I find that generally acceptable. Yep.
And I wanted to emphasize the end, the evaluation and testing of hypotheses, and where possible, the selection of a final hypothesis. You understand what I'm meaning by hypotheses.
Yes, I do.
The scientific
I mean-
method is used, among other reasons,
Come on,
is
sir.
it not,
We get to the resume.
to,
I'm gonna skip a little bit.
you called this case a homicide, even before you began your alleged scientific testing. Isn't that correct?
I don't recall. Where would I have called it a homicide?
Do you recall your January 30th, 2000?
Let's get to the resume, please.
It states, I'm sorry, sir, are you there?
Yes, I am sorry.
He
It says
said,
evidence review
is
by
anybody
defense
home?
counsel Ray O'Keefe, NV homicide. The soon hit the
Yes, I did. Yes, I'm sorry. Correct.
Let's,
Correct.
and they're important in your forensic exam. By absolutely truthful, right?
Yes, they.
Yeah, let's
Not
see.
that the information, laying out your education,
There we go.
scientists in any profession.
There we go. I know, Ali, Banji, Fever,
Another
did you
topic.
guys watch this or no?
Let's talk about professional credentials.
Okay.
You know what I mean by the term credentials?
Yes, I do.
Professional credentials are important in any profession, correct?
Correct.
And they're important in your forensic examiner profession as well.
Correct.
Your forensic scientists and examiners are no different than any other professional, that credentials are important. And your profession requires you to provide curriculum vitae, laying out
vitae
your
is everything.
education, training, and background, correct?
Correct.
It doesn't matter.
And it's imperative, is it not, that the information that is disseminated about your professional credentials are absolutely truthful, right?
Yes, they should be.
He's about to say a little bit. Not quite, not everything.
You say they should be. Let's continue on with that topic.
Okay.
You understand what's meant by the term ethics, right, generally?
Yes. Yes.
And simple ethics mandate that one is truthful about their professional credentials, correct?
Correct.
And a fundamental credential is what type of college degree you hold, correct?
Correct.
People rely on those credentials, and the credentials are the foundation of your expert opinions and analyses, correct?
They can be. Yes.
He said
They can be, and they often are, correct?
Yes, they can be depending on context.
But more often than not, they're important.
Okay.
Yes. Again, depending on context.
You know that not only your colleagues, but your clients.
All right. So let's see. Ali is saying, okay. Didn't got so many cases and trials I'm following right now, so I haven't been catching up with this trial during your lives, and you get to the good important stuff and to the point. Oh, look at Ali. Thank you, Ali. Yeah, but this was so far as it relates to the prosecution's case, the challenge to his credentials, and I'm not going to spoil it very much. I'll let it go on, but this, to me, has been the biggest blow to the prosecution thus far.
Firm clients, courts, and juries will rely on your CV and your credentials in order to make determinations about whether you're qualified to testify and your depth of your qualifications, correct?
Correct.
You provided the Commonwealth, the defense, and the court with your CV in this case, correct?
Correct.
If I can have a moment, Your Honor, I will
Yes.
get my first exhibits.
What other trials are you following, Ally, apart from Diddy? And yeah, I heard Cassie's mom testified today, so we'll cover that
Yes.
in the morning. All right, come on. I don't have time. I don't have all night. I do not have all night.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
That means Lynn's
Your
is
Honor, if I could have
thick.
this marked as the next exhibit
For identification?
for identification at this point.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to have it off, we'll be eventually offering it into evidence, so.
Okay.
What's the
present
problem?
it To the witness.
So let's mark it for identification first.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, like what's the problem? Why don't you take it back? Mark for ID and then admit. Okay.
May I present it to the witness?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Burgess,
Yes.
I am presenting
Very
you
polite.
with exhibit.
I like that about
TT
Alessi.
for identification.
I was, thank you, Your Honor. I'm learning not to talk while I'm walking backwards so Madam Court Reporter can hear me. So I'm presenting you with what is exhibit TT for identification. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And what is that document?
So this document appears to be my CV.
May I approach further? Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. He says appears to be.
And is that CV a document that you have prepared?
Yes, so that is a document that either I have prepared or the company Apter has prepared.
And is
Okay.
that a fair and accurate
All
document?
right, Benji,
it
welcome
appears
back.
to be.
You're getting into the good stuff.
Your Honor, I'd offer that into evidence.
Any objections, Mr. Brennan?
No, thank you.
Yes.
And if you could just, if you want to have the witness hold it, I have some
Hold on,
questions.
let's let it mark
Yes,
first.
Sure.
Yep.
Leslie, what's going on? Do you not know court procedure?
183.
Oh, he's just ready to attack. He's ready to hook him.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, polite.
Mr. Burgess, you have in front of you your CV that we just spoke about, and I'd ask you please to draw your attention to the education section where underneath in red it says BGS, and then, do I read it correctly? It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama Birmingham, Alabama currently pursuing. Did I read that correctly?
You did read that correctly.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
He's about to hook
May I
him.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Like this marked as the next for identification only at this point. Oh, excuse me, can I have that back on, show Mr. Sure.
All right, come on, folks. That's a lot of dead silence. I don't have time for that.
Well, I'm going to actually have it marked for identification first,
Okay.
and we'll go from there. When Mark, the document is Exhibit UU for identification, could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Okay.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you.
How many CVs do you have?
I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Exhibit
That question, once you've had a fair opportunity to look at that, I have a question, and that question is simple. Is that your April 2025 CV?
Okay, so more updated.
Let me see. Yes, it appears to be.
Thank you. And when you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, when you can just pick your head up, sir, to let me know you're ready. I don't want to
Yes.
rush you, but then I have some questions.
Absolutely.
Thank
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So in those two exhibits, your two CVs in front of you, am I correct that the first one is November 2024 and the second one is April 2025?
Okay.
Let me
Okay, so those CVs accompanied his reports. Oftentimes, when an expert gives a report, when they, write a report and it's tendered to the opposing side, a CV often accompanies the report. If a CV does not accompany the report, then usually somewhere in the report, the expert would put in a sentence, something along the lines of CV is available upon request. But that's why we have two different copies.
see. Yes, that appears to be correct.
In both of those CVs, you indicate that you have not yet earned a bachelor's degree.
That is correct.
Okay.
And you certainly have not earned a Bachelor of Science degree in any educational field, according to those two CVs, right?
Correct.
And in fact, as you sit here today, you do not possess any bachelor's degree.
Correct.
Okay.
And the reason, as you state,
I'll explain
is
why this is
because
important in a bit.
that bachelor's degree is currently pending. That's the term you use.
So I use currently pursuing.
Currently pursuing, yes.
Okay.
So you have a public profile that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
Yes, I do.
And it's in the form of a biography page.
Yes, I believe so.
And that biography page has your education listed.
Very possible. Yes.
May I approach your honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, come on.
Once Mr. Brennan reviews it. Your Honor, may I have this marked as next identification in order?
Okay.
Thank you.
Is it DD?
DB for identification.
Okay.
You recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And indeed, that is the bio page that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
That is what it appears to be. Yes.
Now,
Okay. Aperture is the firm that he is employed by, and that's who the Commonwealth hired to assist with this case. Okay. Allie says, friends, unless you want to have to get a real lawyer and pay them those real fees or real lawyer fees, then you should hit the like button. All right. Allie said you guys need to subscribe. I think everybody here is subscribed. Thank you, Allie.
I would like
I suppose Allie's actually talking to the replay crew. Okay.
you, sir, to turn to page 2
All right.
of that document.
Okay.
And I'd like to turn your focus to the bottom of education heading. It states, am I correct, sir, BS, mathematics, and business administration. Is that correct?
It does state that. Yes.
And there is no qualification that's currently pending. It states BS in mathematics and business administration, correct?
That's what it states there. Yes.
And you do not have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, do you?
No, I do not.
Yeah. So that was the reason why this is brilliant is because Mr. Burgess is tendered as a prosecution's expert, not just a witness, but expert witness. So under these circumstances, defense is basically challenging not just his credentials, but more so his ability or inability to tell the truth. So if we take a look at the two resumes he submitted, the one from November and April, those pretty much say that, he has been studying or he is in school for some bachelor's degree. Whereas on LinkedIn, he is presenting himself as if he actually has a bachelor's degree when he does not have one. So one could pretty much argue that if he is prepared to lie about his what is this credentials, he could potentially be lying about his underlying study on the Commonwealth's behalf. Shout out to the replay crew.
And if you click on the hyperlink for your CV on that same website,
Okay.
do you know where that hyperlink takes you?
No, I do not.
To any member of the public reading this, including prosecutor, a defense attorney, a judge, or a jury, that represents that you received your Bachelor of
Right, he's
Science
holding
in
himself out
Mathematics
to,
and Business Administration, does it not?
Objection.
That's sustained.
and he is holding out. That's in
Now, if you,
essence the argument.
you continue on to your photograph, are you familiar with Aperture's website that speaks about you and presents you generally?
Vaguely, yes.
Are you aware that
Here's the thing. I actually really hate company profiles. What I mean by that is there's been at least one instance where I was asked to, submit. No, actually, it's more than one. I can actually, now that I'm thinking about Mississippi, on 2 occasions, I was asked to submit a profile about myself. And people just edit and write shit in there that it's not so much that I don't agree with it because it's accurate, but I don't like the edits. I don't like what they choose to keep in and out. And I also sometimes I have an issue with grammar. What I mean by that, I do tend to over criticize people for grammar. So yeah, I just anyways, let's get back to
Aperture has 2
Shannon.
hyperlinks, one that says CV and one says LinkedIn? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am now.
And LinkedIn is a professional networking platform designed for career and business professionals to connect, share content, find jobs, etc. Is that a fair description of LinkedIn?
Yes, it is.
And could we also conclude that it's a professional networking platform, especially for private sector firms like Aperture, that's used to attract clients or potential clients?
Yes, correct.
And potential clients include, for example, the Commonwealth of the state of Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, the Commonwealth is no longer, if you will, an attracted client, but it's an actual client of Aperture and you, correct?
Correct.
And that's the
Sorry,
status.
got
of your
distracted
comp sample
parenting.
clients, like Aperture, that's used to attract clients or potential clients.
Yes, correct.
And potential clients include, for example, the Commonwealth of the state of Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, the Commonwealth is no longer, if you will, an attracted client, but it's an actual client of Aperture and you, correct?
Correct.
This man answers questions.
And that's the status of the relationship here. Aperture is a client of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in this case, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So is it fair to say that your CV, especially when it's published on a LinkedIn or published on a website, is something that is published to intend to have, especially if you're in the private sector, have clients view and retain your services? That's a hope and an expectation, correct?
Yes, that is part of it.
Okay. I don't
Now-
know, do organizations and companies, do they actually endorse LinkedIn pages or accounts? Because I just recently got onto LinkedIn. It's something I'm not really into social media, so everybody was shocked when I got on LinkedIn. But I don't know that the organization that you work for necessarily endorses the profile. Maybe they do. I'm new to LinkedIn, so.
When you look at that document, when you click on, if you were to be in your office, and let's see if you're familiar with this, you click on your LinkedIn on Aperture's page, that would ordinarily take you directly to your professional LinkedIn account.
If I remember correctly, I think it gets worse. I think it gets.
Correct? Isn't that what the links are there for?
Yes, I would expect so.
Are you notified when someone electronically accesses your LinkedIn account?
Not accesses, no. Are you referring to viewing?
Yes, that's
Yes,
a better
sorry,
verb,
yeah.
viewing. Yes.
Yes.
So you're notified. Were you notified within the last 72 hours that someone from the defense accessed your publicly available or viewed your publicly available LinkedIn account?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that within the last 72 hours, that hyperlink on Aperture's official website was disabled?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that now if you try to go on that link, that you can't, that it's disabled?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Do you know whether anyone from Aperture directed someone within Aperture to disable your LinkedIn account within the last 72 hours?
No, I'm not.
Have you spoken to anybody at Aperture about your LinkedIn account?
No, I have not.
Shout out to Sarah. And who do you think? Send me an email. Who do you think Sarah is? I sent you an email earlier, Allie. Hopefully you got it. Yeah, I know who. Shout out to Sarah. All right, come on, Alessi.
I can just see it.
I don't have time for shit.
Oh, this one. that was in-
Dead time. So here's the thing. Aperture or somebody else disabled the hyperlink, but what they do not know is that the defense already took the screenshot that they needed.
We are done with those. So
Sure.
if I could ask those back to you. we can go to the
Absolutely.
court reporter.
Oh, he's so polite.
Your Honor, could I have please the next one marked
Guess he's used
for
to being grilled.
identification at this point?
Yes.
Thank you. Burgess, I presented to you what is marked as Exhibit WW for identification. I'd ask that you take a look at it, take a fair amount of time, and then if you could, sir, pick your head up so I could see that you're ready.
Sure.
You ready?
Do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, it appears to be a screenshot of my LinkedIn account.
Your Honor, I offer that into evidence.
Okay. Okay, what's next? Come on. You guys have a lot of dead space of dead time. I'm sorry, I clicked on something related to this MacBook.
This is the only MacBook.
She's annoying. All right, come on. What happened? Did they have an extended break? I don't think so. Okay.
Presenting to you what has been marked as Exhibit WW for identification. Is that a fair and accurate representation of your personal LinkedIn page? You could take a moment to take a look at it.
Sure.
Mr. Lester, I'm going to ask you to step back so all the jurors can see the
Yes, Your
pictures,
Honor,
please.
thank you.
No. All right, come on, Burgess.
Yes, it does with a error on page 2 regarding education.
So he said
Right,
he has
we're
an
going to get to
error.
that.
Sure.
But this is you recognize this as a fair and accurate depiction of your personal LinkedIn page with the exception of what you just mentioned, correct?
Correct.
Did you draft that document that's represented as Exhibit WW?
I have drafted that over time, yes.
And when was the last time you viewed?
So that is brilliant because as far as his actual resumes are concerned, he can distance himself from them because, you know, he works for a large firm or company and they, I suppose, hire people to keep up with the resumes. Whereas for his personal LinkedIn profile page, he's the one that drafted that. So if he conflates if he conflated his educational qualifications on there, that's on him. And it shows at least a tendency to be dishonest, or that at least for as far as the resume or credential portion is concerned, that he lied about his credentials.
That document on your LinkedIn page?
I don't typically view the profile page, so it would have been, I could not tell you how long it's been.
Do you have any reason to believe that Exhibit WW is not on your LinkedIn page online as we sit here today?
No, I don't.
Your Honor, I move Exhibit WW into evidence.
No objection.
I don't know. I'll have to double check that because I know you sent me an email around 7 this morning, and I replied around 7 or 6 p.m. my time.
Thank you.
So probably 2 hours before I came on here. Oh, Mr. Burgess, what did you do?
I would like to turn your attention to the printout of your personal LinkedIn page and go right to the second page, bottom. And under education, it says University of Alabama at Birmingham. It's got a little UAB acronym there. And it says Bachelor of Science, B period, S period, comma, Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation, 2016-2018. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I do.
That's not correct, is it?
No, it's not correct.
And you do not hold a BS in a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, do you?
I do not. And that would have been at that time an expected graduation date?
Okay, here's an
So
explanation.
it would be expected, you state.
Correct.
2016 to 2018.
It would be another word currently pursuing? Is that similar to expecting?
Sure, that could be similar.
But you know how to put currently pursuing down, don't you?
I don't know. I get the argument the defense is making, and it is a good argument. But I'm going back to LinkedIn again. I do not know that folks have the option of putting in currently pursuing. The only options that I've seen, again, maybe for people that actually have paid subscriptions, you might have those options. The only options that I remember is you either put a date of when you attended, and those attending dates though, now that I think about it, because I was going to say graduation, when you graduated, but I think those are attending dates. And the other option, my shit is blank. Okay. I'm not filling that stuff out because I don't want people to calculate how old I am. I just don't, I don't need people trying to figure out how old I am. So, I don't know. We'll see. I watch a bit of Redirect. I do not quite remember if, and again, Redirect was today. So I watched portions here and there. I was up and about a lot today.
Sir, because you did it on the first few CVs, but you don't have it on your LinkedIn page. Am I correct?
Correct. That's
All right,
probably
sounds
because
good.
obviously that has not been
Sounds good,
updated
Alan.
in quite some time.
And you said you get notifications when people access your LinkedIn page, correct?
I get selective notifications when people view my LinkedIn page.
So you know people are looking at your LinkedIn page. You know people are looking at your education.
Right.
And you have down here 2016 to 2018. So that time period is 7 years old from 2018, yet you use the 2016 to 2018 on your LinkedIn page, correct?
Correct. With the caveat that my understanding is people look at your post, not specifically the profile information.
Oh, so you believe you know apparently when people are looking at it and what they look at?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying generally.
Generally.
Correct.
But you don't know who's looking at
That's
the education section on your
You're doing a
LinkedIn
good
page
job.
and relying upon what is represented here, that you have a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Not from the LinkedIn page. Yeah, just independently of the LinkedIn page, yes.
What does that mean?
And as you sit here today, that page is still live on your LinkedIn, correct?
Correct.
Hmm. Mr.
So a
Burgess.
key aspect of your credentials, whether or not you have obtained a Bachelor of Science, is incorrect in more than one document that I've presented here today, correct?
No, I would not agree with that.
Okay.
Well, it's incorrect in this one, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And the one previously to that, there's two documents that have you listed. This LinkedIn, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. So there's two documents, is there not?
Again, this comes down to social media. We've seen people get tied up with social media. But here's my thing. What I found interesting about this cross-examination, or at least the testimony that was elicited as it relates to Mr. Burgess' testimony, is that, or at least did I disconnect that? The cross-examination is the fact that this man has testified a number of times. Okay. He has been hired as an expert in civil cases, in criminal cases, for plaintiffs' attorney, or for by plaintiffs' attorneys, defense attorneys, prosecutors. And during the time, for however long, actually, let's look him up. What's his name? Shannon. Oh, my daughter is my phone. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. when I get off here, because I am interested in finding out how long he's been work. Let's just look him up right now. Shannon with one N. Shannon Burgess Aperture. All right, let's see. Okay, I see they're talking about him. They're talking about him. Some WCVB.com website. Okay, let's go to Aperture. There it is. It says to download his CV, talks about education. Ah, actually, I'm gonna share my. No, girl, don't mess it up, because if you mess this whole thing up, then you're gonna have problems. But what I'm taking a look at here. Okay, hold on. So this is on the Aperture website. Okay, he is a forensic expert, and his field or branch of expertise is digital forensics. Okay. Then let me just share the screen, because you guys don't listen. Hopefully, I remember to put this back on. If not, then somebody's gonna tell me. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we have Mr. Shannon up here. Okay, so there's, his profile. He's a forensics expert. They talk about how he's a digital forensic expert for Aperture. So it's over 8 years, because I wanted to figure out how long he had been working for these folks. Okay, actually, that does not mean that he's worked for this specific company. It just says that for over 8 years, this is what he has done. Okay. Apparently, he's also a speaker, and he has some industry publications. Before entering the forensic science field, Shannon spent time in the automotive manufacturing industry, gaining in depth knowledge of industrial robotics and control systems. So in 2008, while attending college, Shannon was employed at the University of Alabama, Huntsville System Management and Production Center, working on various engineering projects, including the testing of small unmanned aircraft systems. I mean, they have a large base out there in Huntsville. Okay, so his education, though, on the website, they're saying that he has a BS. He definitely has a BS. He has a BS. He has a master in BSing. Okay. And they're talking about mathematics and business administration, and an associate's in computer networking. Okay, he has a bunch of certifications. He was a private investigator for whom? Somewhere in Texas, Arkansas, and then work experience. This is what he has done. Memberships, capabilities, and this is what he can do. Okay, and apparently he provides expert testimony as well. All right, so that is his profile. Let us go to LinkedIn, because I want to see if that profile is still up. Okay, what is this? Oh boy, Turtle Boy's on Facebook. What is he saying? Somebody's saying Aperture today posted today that Shannon is now qualified for expert testimony. Okay, this is just some Facebook stuff. Let me get off here, because I'm going to get distracted. And once I get distracted, it's going to go downhill. It's going to go downhill. All right, so we don't want to be on Facebook anymore. Hold on. Where is LinkedIn? Where is LinkedIn? Let's go. And the importance of the defense really breaking Mr. Burgess, or really trying to undermine his credibility, is because he has somewhat, to an extent, may have brought the prosecution closer to proving their burden as far as the timeline is concerned, and actually putting Karen Reed on the scene. So I just I don't see his LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see the LinkedIn profile. So let me just get back to sharing the actual video. Stop. No, remove. Stop and then put in. I think this is it. Okay. There we go. And then Ali says Alessi is too slow talking, long-winded, way too dramatic for me, just never ending when he starts talk. I talk really slow as well. I remember Benji a few months ago said sometimes I just put him to sleep because I do drag my words out. Even when I was doing the pre-recorded videos, I'm like, girl, you really drag your words out. Okay, let's see. And Alessi, I would think with some of the stuff the Commonwealth played, you have way bigger issues to deal with. I mean, the Karen Reed, those videos are just, videos are, those videos are really damaging. And what's even more damaging now that I think about it is, so after Alessi pretty much destroys um, Burgess' credibility, you have Brennan playing a video of Karen Reed pretty much saying that this man died before anybody else knew he was dead, right? So that is problematic. So I'm trying to figure out. I'd like to believe that Brennan, the Commonwealth, they probably do have um a method as to when to play these videos, but I'm wondering, do these admissions or confessions get worse, or is this the worst of it? I don't know. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, Benji. Let us get into it. I'll
Sir?
make another point. Oh, the point that I was trying to make is that this man, Mr. Burgess, has testified. He has testified in a number of trials. And it seems like all those times that he has testified, not a single attorney, be it from a plaintiff side, a defense side, a prosecutor, not a single attorney has ever attacked his credentials or his educational qualifications. It's something that they completely overlook. And obviously now the Aperture and Mr. Burgess, they have an opportunity to remedy that. But what we're, again, I've said that before with Dr. Is he a doctor? Is it Wolf? I don't know. One of the, I don't have my pad here, but one of the Karen Reed expert witnesses, the one that was chatting with Jackson on Signal. I've said it as it relates to him that pretty much the Karen Reed trial is going to follow the rest of his career. And the same is going to be true of Mr. Burgess here. Him conflating his uh, educational qualifications, it's a big deal. And other attorneys are definitely going to challenge him moving forward. But my mind was just blown at the realization that this man has appeared in a number of court cases, and not a single person has ever challenged his qualifications to this extent, where they're able to narrow it down and pinpoint. There's something else that unless he's going to bring up, but I won't mention it unless we just get to 10:30 and he still has not brought up, then I have to bring it up. Ellie says she went back and checked. Really? Okay, I'll have to take a look. Okay. Ooh, Sarah's on LinkedIn. Sarah's not looking for me. No way, no way, no way. Sarah's definitely not looking for me. And
There's
I'd be hard to find just because There's nothing in my profile that shows that I was ever a public defender. I don't have my history on there. I don't like to put stuff out there on social media, but I had to create that page as a networking vehicle, if you will, to some extent. All right, come on.
May I?
Sure.
And Madam Court Reporter, if I could have the previous one in evidence?
There's no way you're done. Are you done?
So if you could hold that, this one, sir, and I'm going to take.
Sure.
With the
that
credentials, I
section
don't
out.
think you're done. And here's the one thing about Mr. Burgess, okay? Even though he's really in the hot seat, he is, again, an expert witness. He's been in the hot seat a number of times, and he's obviously presenting different from, I have to keep going back to that, to that ASAP rally or ASAP Rocky trial. He's not presenting like an ASAP rally. And again, this is the distinction between a trained witness and, somebody like just a lay individual, an ordinary Joe off the street. He remains composed and he's not acting up.
And Exhibit 185, that's in evidence, if you can turn to the second page.
185. I drag my words out too.
So if you look at each of those state that you have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. So there are 2 documents about your credentials that are inaccurate, correct?
Yes, they have errors. Yes, that is correct.
May I have those back,
Sure.
sir?
Yep, both.
Yes,
Yes. There you go.
thank you.
Okay. All right, come on. Alessi.
Exhibit XX for identification.
I've recorded the video today. I don't have time to edit after this.
Do you recognize that document,
Big shout
sir?
out to Sarah.
So it appears to be a CV. Yes.
Nah, I doubt it.
You
I
say it
doubt it.
appears to be a CV. Can you describe that any further?
Yes. So it's
You
it's
can see
a
the-
copy of my CV.
So it's no longer.
Is that a CV you prepared, sir?
It would have been prepared by myself or Aperture. Yes.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't hear the end.
Sorry, it would have been prepared by myself or Aperture. Yes.
Okay.
Yourself or Aperture?
Correct.
But you had, at a minimum, a role in preparing that, did you not?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, and you would have reviewed that because it's about you before it
More likely
would have
than
been
not.
used by Aperture, correct?
More than likely, yes.
You wouldn't let somebody put a
Right.
CV up and out to the public without you reviewing it, would you, sir?
So there are other staff members that do review and update CVs.
But you're the only one who's going to know whether what's on it is accurate or not, correct?
Unless I explain that to them, yes.
So either way, either you prepared it yourself or you interacted with somebody and explained it and collaborated with them to make sure it was right to the best of your ability, correct?
Correct.
That's good follow up.
If you can look at the highlighted portion, sir, under education.
There's no well, I understand
sorry.
what you're talking about. There's no highlighted
I'm
portion.
sorry, let's strike that. If you look under education,
Mhm.
the first line, it says in the right underneath BGS. Do you see that, sir?
I do, yes.
And then to the right, it says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama,
Wait for it.
2022. Did I read that correct?
Yes, you did.
Maybe this man's graduation or anticipated graduation dates have just been shifting. They did not want to be caught. They have just been shifting.
And up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a photograph.
How much does
Yes, there is.
pay?
Is that you, sir, in the photograph?
Yes, it is.
And in the spelling of your name, Shane.
I would have been surprised if he pulled a rally and said, I have never seen this person a day in my life. They have makeup on.
And that's with one N, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And so that is
That was the significance. If we go back to the very beginning of this cross-examination, Alessi confirmed that Shannon spells his name with one N. Usually it's two N's, but I've also met a Nicole with an H in her name. I've never seen that before. To date, I have met two Erics that spell their names with a K and not a C. The one was a prosecutor. The other one must have been a judge, I think. So the reason why Alessi was trying to confirm that spelling is for pretty much Shannon Burgess not to be able to distance himself from the testimony that he was about to elicit. So the first thing that Alessi had to do is get confirmation. Once he got confirmation, the next step is basically for him to anchor him to a certain position that he cannot escape from, and then eventually he reveals information that is not favorable to the prosecution, or basically information that can pretty much undermine his credentials or credibility.
is not only you in the photograph, that's the spelling of your name with one N, correct?
Right.
Correct.
And that's the correct spelling of your first name with one N, correct?
Yes. it
So
is.
that's definitely you represented in this document, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now let's look at the first line that relates to education. It states Bachelors of General Science and Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That is what it states. Yes.
And the date is 2022, correct?
Correct.
Like Jesus.
So this document represents that you received your Bachelor's of General Science and Mathematics and Business Administration in 2022, correct?
That is what it states, but there are a number of errors in that. Yes.
Correct. So let's go
You
on.
said
So this
correct.
is the third example. Am I correct, sir?
Mm.
Well, let me, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, so I just realized one thing, because there's something else I want to talk about, Alessi, that he could have done better. But I'm noticing something else that potentially I would not have done under these circumstances. So Alessi has highlighted 3 instances of Burgess' CV being incorrect or conflated to an extent. But what he also did initially is that he introduced 2 CVs that are correct to the extent that Mr. Burgess explained that those were anticipated graduation dates, right? And actually, now that I think about it, that's something that I have done before I actually had any qualifications. I think initial steps of, and this is going back years, okay? I think it was acceptable at the time to say anticipated graduation date or something along those lines. In any event, what I would have done differently from Alessi is I would not have introduced the 2 resumes or CVs that are in fact somewhat correct. And the reason why I would not have done that is because they help the prosecution and they help Mr. Burgess. What I would have focused on is really just introducing all the resumes that are incorrect. Because that way, then if there's anybody on the jury that is kind of doubtful, you do not want, because all these resumes, if I have it correctly, these resumes were admitted into evidence. When the jury goes back to deliberate, and again, for the most part, if you do in fact have an impartial jury, what I mean by that is people that were not influenced by pretrial publicity in this case, be it in the form of just reading articles, social media, or even Karen Reed's, I guess, press run. If you do in fact have an impartial jury, some individuals, if there's a holdout, be it for the prosecution or the defense, some people may potentially argue that we understand that Mr. Burgess on his LinkedIn profile, he said, I don't know, I think the years over there were 2016 to 2018. Those were the years that he put down for qualifications or for graduation. But you do not want those people to be able or afforded an opportunity to look at the resumes that are partially correct and argue that, yeah, but when Shannon Burgess was on the stand, he also said that, or he testified that Aperture has some form of department where people or other employees are responsible for putting the resume together. So that's what I would have done differently. I would have focused on what is wrong as opposed to trying to compare that to what is done correctly. All right, let's move on.
Your Honor, at this time, I offer Exhibit XX into evidence.
Okay.
No objection.
I know Brandon is heated right now. He is heated.
Sir, is Exhibit 187 a CV that is linked directly from Aperture's website?
Okay.
I do not know. I would have to look and check that.
So as you sit here today,
Are
you
you
are not
disputed?
able to state whether that CV is linked directly from Aperture's website.
Correct.
Okay. Let's
So this is a third example
Well, go
of
on.
a document that incorrectly states that you have a Bachelor of Science when you do not possess that degree, correct?
It has errors or outdated information. Correct.
That means it outdated information.
When you say outdated, how is it that you can call
Hmm.
a date outdated next to something that you don't possess?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you just used the phrase either incorrect or outdated. I'm
Hmm.
trying to understand your statement that it's
Sure. So
outdated. Isn't it either you have a Bachelor of Science
Right.
degree or you don't? Isn't
I have represented I do not have a bachelor's degree.
correct? But in here, it's represented that you do, correct?
Yes.
The other thing as well for the prosecution during closing, they're gonna have to address Shannon Burgess. There's no way around it.
It is
All
an
right.
error. Yes.
So let's look at what the name is that are on these documents. It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
Are you aware that there's no degree at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, called a Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business
Oh my
Administration?
goodness.
Yes, I am. And that is one of the errors I identified. Just now.
So you would agree that there's
Wow.
not even a degree called Bachelor of General Science in
Did you
Mathematics.
guys hear that? So this resume of Shannon Burgess lists a qualification that does not exist.
And Business Administration offered at the University of Alabama, correct?
Correct. That should be Bachelor of General Studies with minor in Mathematics and Business Administration.
And what you just
So that could be an explanation. That could be explained by basically saying he's not the one that drafted that document.
articulated, you do not possess as you sit here today, correct?
That is correct.
What you possess is an associate's degree, correct?
Correct.
And when did you obtain that associate's degree?
So that would have been 2015.
I really hated that question by Alessi. And the reason I hate that question is because as I was listening to this in real time, the way that the cross-examination was coming through was that this man is not only conflating his qualifications, but it sounded like he had zero qualifications to even be employed in this capacity, right? So this question by Alessi, basically Alessi getting confirmation that Burgess does in fact have he does in fact have, or he does in fact possess a an associate degree, it kind of, it kind of watered down. He did not have the same gut punch that he was delivering during the rest of the cross examination. Because from a prosecutor's perspective, when Alessi asks that question and Burgess answers in the affirmative, that is kind of a moment to a moment where a prosecutor would have a sigh of relief. And the reason is because there's confirmation that this man that he was pretty much attacking this whole time about having zero qualifications does in fact have a qualification. And so that's why, from a defense perspective, I did not like that question by Alessi, because to some extent it watered down his cross-examination. From a defense perspective, it makes sense to paint this man not only that he's a liar, but you actually really wanted to leave him as, or to paint him as, this individual that has zero qualifications. And it would have been up to the prosecution to, on redirect, to elicit testimony that he does in fact have an associate degree or some certifications. Is that it? Yeah, Ali, this was real cross. That's why I kept saying that it gets worse, it gets worse, it gets worse. So, and that is the puzzling part to me, the fact that this man has testified before numerous courts, before numerous attorneys, and it sounds like no attorney. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. It sounds like other attorneys did not really challenge his educational credentials, because had they done that, without a doubt, all that information would have been taken care of, erased. And at least I can see some form of confirmation based on the defense inability to continue to access Shannon Burgess' profile on LinkedIn or whatever it is that they were trying to access.
You familiar with the term mendacity?
I am not.
Mendacity. Okay.
Are you familiar with a CV of 2015?
More CVs.
No, I'm not.
More CVs. What time is it, girl? You need to go to bed. Good night, Alexa.
Yes.
All right, let's fast forward. Alexa, stop. Oh man said he does not know he's a lie. He's a lie. So Mr. Burgess all the way red.
Sure.
Initially, he just had some rosy cheeks, but it has all spread. He is stressed out. He's having a bad day on the job. Terrible day on the job.
Do you recall ever pursuing, may I stay here and ask some questions, Your Honor?
Okay.
Can you use the
Did
mic?
he see the document as well, or do you have a copy for him?
He can see it as well, Your Honor.
Okay. I was just wondering the purpose,
Yep, sure.
and just step back.
Yes,
just a little.
yep. Sir, do you recall when you started pursuing a bachelor's?
This was a great moment. This is so far, this is the best that I've seen from the defense. And this was the perfect line of attack. All the other stuff defense has been doing, having Karen Reed really on a press run, And even the third party culprit arguments, I was like, I don't know. But this cross examination was brilliant, brilliant, magnificent. This is how you cross examine. And I have a natural instinct for picking out really good attorneys, okay? From the very beginning, because Alessi was introduced to me during the pretrial motions. I don't remember which motion or the pretrial hearings. I do not quite remember which hearing it was, but I believe it was cross-examination of it must have been one of the Commonwealth doctors or experts, okay? And I listened to him just within minutes. I could tell he was a really good attorney. And I've said it over and over again. Alessi, to me, as far as I don't know that there can be a universal standard for what the best attorney is or who the best attorney is, but out of the pool of defense attorneys, Alessi's really good. He is really, really good. He's brilliant. He knows how to hook a witness, and he can get the job done. So Ali says his blood pressure just rapidly went up through the roof in a short span of 10 seconds with just one question. Oh yeah, that was because the witness was composed for the most part, but eventually it got real. It got too real, too real.
Bachelor of Science degree of any kind?
Sure, I do. Around 2008.
So you started pursuing.
Hold on.
You started pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree of any kind?
Sure, I do. Around 2008.
Okay, so
you
2008.
started pursuing
Sure.
a Bachelor of Science for the first time in 2008, correct?
Correct.
Baby, people that were born in 2008, that person that's an adult now. That person has a job. They're probably married. They definitely graduated some of them may have graduated from college, but Mr. Burgess. I mean, it does take some people longer. My cousin, I had not realized my cousin was still I had not realized my cousin was still in college. This guy he just graduated recently. Was it last week? He graduated this month, okay? And I'm like, dude, you've been in college for over a decade. But it does take, I mean, he's not the only one. Even my one of my other that's the male cousin. One of my other cousins though, and she's much older than me. She took some, I know my family's gonna come up here and she's talking about us. It took her quite some time too. It took her a long time. So it does take some folks, a lot of time to thanks, boo. It does take some folks, go night night. It does take some folks a lot of time to to graduate from college. Shout out to Mr. Burgess though. I just know that's a long time, Mr. Burgess. Somebody born in 2008. They probably have kids by now. They've done a lot. They've traveled. No telling how many times they've actually gone to Walmart. Oh, Mr. Burgess. And what it sounds like he started with the bachelor's, was not able to get it done, so he moved on to an associate, got that done, unless he was just dragging both along. I don't know, Mr. Burgess. Oh, Mr. Burgess.
If I did the math correctly, sir, you've been pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree for 17 years.
That's crazy,
correct?
Alessi.
That is correct.
That is
And you have
crazy.
not obtained it as you sit here today.
That is correct.
Big shout out
And
to
yet there
Walmart.
are the various documents that we've seen that state that you have obtained the Bachelor of Science, correct?
Again, with errors or
That
misinterpretation.
man said, Alessi did the math and said it took you at least, not even, it did not really take him because he's still pursuing. Baby, 17 years. 17. I mean, in some states, that's a married person, okay, whether you agree with it or not. That's a married individual. And I mean, wasn't there recently, this is out there in Benji's neck of the woods, isn't there like a 15-year-old that graduated with, I don't know, she graduated from like 3 colleges or something along those lines.
Yes.
Errors or misinterpretation that are you stating, but you would agree those errors or misinterpretation have been in existence for some time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm being made aware of them now. Yes.
Yeah, and they haven't been corrected for
Right.
some time, correct?
Correct.
You work for insurance companies, correct?
I do work for insurance companies in addition to law firms. Yes.
17
But you
years.
work for insurance companies, correct?
Yes.
Probably
Sometimes.
how
Yes.
long it
Well,
took my
you
cousin.
state that right in your report in this case, don't you, sir? That you work for insurance companies?
I do work for insurance companies. Yes.
And what role do you play in working for insurance companies? You working for them, or are you working for the policyholders that
Somebody.
pay premiums or are making a claim to try to get money from an insurance company? Which role do you have?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
So I work for the insurance company themselves.
And in your work for the insurance company, has any of that work related to denying claims to insurance?
When I don't quite remember where this line of questioning led, but as I was watching this in real time, I was wondering if Alessi was hinting at Burgess possibly investigating fraud cases. So that's what I was trying to figure out.
Why don't I see you on this, Mr. Lasky?
Sure.
All right. Oh, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Burgess. A lot of judges have been stepping down lately.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the phrase academic dishonesty?
Sheesh.
Yes, I am.
I mean, you cannot just leave it at that.
Let's talk about
I mean, at least question him about whether he was dishonest or if he engaged in academic dishonesty.
your work on this case.
Probably going to say no, but
In October of 2024, the Commonwealth hired you to perform a new data acquisition from the infotainment.
but that was brilliant. That was well done. That was well done because before Alessi gets into the meat and the potatoes of why Burgess is on the stand, he pretty much undermined his credibility, his qualification, showed that he is either a liar, has a tendency to lie, or has engaged in academic fraud. Okay. And once the jurors had that perception of him, that's when Alessi moves into, his study or his report. And that was really brilliant because the jurors are not going to forget. The jurors are not going to forget that this man right here is a liar. So that was really good. And the reason why that was good from a defense perspective is because they probably have little to go on as far as attacking his underlying report, right? They can challenge inconsistencies here and there. They can do this and that. And the same again is going to the prosecution when the defense put their witnesses on their stand, the experts. The Commonwealth is going to challenge that as well. I do not know that the Commonwealth has an opportunity to undermine any defense witnesses to the extent that Burgess was undermined. Sure enough, there's that. I keep forgetting what that doctor's name is. The one that works for Arcad, I think. Um, in any event, a lot is going to come out there as far as cross-examination, him deleting text messages, talking to what is this, the attorney offline. That's going to be messy, but it's not going to be as uh I don't know that it's going to have as much of a stronghold as Burgess' testimony. And the other thing as well, we have to go back to the concept of the Commonwealth being the ones that actually have to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. So this is definitely crippling. So far, this is the most damaging testimony that I have seen the defense elicit. Okay. All right. We'll just listen to this a little bit. I quickly want to jump or fast forward to today and take a listen to that, some of that redirect by Brennan.
And telematics system of Ms. Reed's Lexus SUV, correct?
That is correct.
And in your October 10, 2024 report, you
Allie
outlined a proposal.
wants to know, Allie would like to know, are we doing our early morning Diddy's freak off start your day the chaotic way live in the morning? I actually do like that. Start your day the chaotic way. Yeah, we are doing that tomorrow. We're starting off with Diddy. I just have to schedule it. That's a good reminder because I forgot to schedule that. I'm going to schedule it after that. So we are starting at 7 a.m. We're definitely getting into that because apparently Cassie's mom took the stand. It sounds like she was paid up. I don't know. I have real questions. But that nature of human beings, it sounds like she was selling off the daughter's freak off tapes. I mean, that's a bit hyperbole, but it sounds like Diddy paid her off, okay?
For attempting to extract additional data from the
All
telematics.
right, so we're gonna move on from this because I only have about 15 minutes. I'm up here much longer, but we had to get through the good part of that cross-examination. And so here's one thing I'll mention that I noticed, a point that I noticed from the defense as well as the prosecution. I thought both sides did a very good job of introducing the expected testimony of Mr. Duchamp, Mr. Somebody. It starts with a D. I did not write the name down. I don't remember. Okay. So that Mr. D, he is the defense expert witness. And if you remember, Mr. Burgess has two reports. The one report he pretty much compiled on his own accord. The second report he compiled in response to Mr. D, who's the defense expert. The reason he did that is because, according to him, he is of the opinion that Mr. D's report has a tendency or is likely to mislead the jury. So he does not agree with Mr. D's report, or at least his conclusion. That said, though, so what I liked about the defense cross of Mr. Burgess is the fact that through Mr. Burgess, they give the jurors a window into what to expect when the defense expert takes the stand. So they introduced part of the defense expert report through Mr. Burgess. And then when we fast forward to redirect, I also like what Brennan did there with Mr. D's report. So pretty much on redirect through Mr. Burgess, Hank Brennan pretty much has the jurors hear or understand why Mr. Burgess is of the opinion that Mr. D's report or his study is incorrect. So I thought both parties did a fantastic job as far as expected defense expert testimony. Okay. So Benji apparently is gonna be out there. Listen, Benji, you can be part of the replay crew. All right. You do not have to get up that early. You do not have to get up that early. But if you do, I do appreciate your support. All right, let us fast forward to today. And what I liked about yesterday, literally, I kept us watching my clock, okay? And I'm like, listen, um, Alessi, you need to keep going with this cross examination so you can bring Mr. Burgess back the next day. Because it would have afforded Alessi enough time to go back and figure out if there's anything else that he, has to redo or do better or whatever. Anyways, Mr. Burgess did not have a good day on the job yesterday, not one bit. All right, so let's get and
Exhibit
before
BBB,
before we get
lights
into
PM.
dang, how far did I go? Before
Charles
we
Street. You're
get
right
into
next to
Hank Brennan, we're gonna start off with Alessi just a little bit because I thought he was very good. He did a really good job, and I want to highlight what he did at the start of for today, which was brilliant.
All persons having anything to do before then you say the
Okay.
Yes. Everyone said yes. Yes.
All right, look at Bev, all smiley.
Sure.
All right, so pay attention to Alessi's first line of questioning on day 2 of Mr. Burgess.
All right, Mr. Alessi, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning, Mr. Burgess.
Morning.
On your direct
Yeah, he's still
examination
rosy, so he's still a little rosy. I guess that's just how he looks right before he gets on the stand.
yesterday,
Go ahead,
your
yeah.
experience was brought up in
Yeah,
question.
let me go back.
Morning, Mr. Burgess.
Morning.
On your direct examination yesterday, your experience was brought up in questions, correct?
Correct.
On your direct examination, your certifications were brought up in questions, correct?
Incorrect.
There was no discussion in your direct examination about having certifications in Celebrite and Magnet Forensic Axiom. Did I mishear that?
No, if I misheard your question, it was
I asked about certifications. I'll repeat it, sir, in case I misspoke. On your direct examination, your certifications were brought up in questions, correct?
yes, correct.
However, on your direct examination, no questions were asked of you at all about your supposed education, correct?
Pose it, Ed.
Correct.
And you did not bring up your educational background at all on
Correct.
direct examination, correct?
Correct.
A forensic examiner must prioritize accuracy, correct?
Correct.
A forensic examiner must prioritize reliability, correct?
Correct.
Both are important.
Correct.
It's criminal
Sheesh.
proceeding we're in, correct?
Correct.
And therefore, accuracy and reliability are especially important in a criminal case as opposed to a civil case, correct?
I think
Yeah,
it would be
Benji.
equally important in both, but yes,
Say
But
the
they're
name.
certainly important in a criminal case.
correct.
And accuracy and reliability are especially important when seconds and minutes matter
Mhm.
as they matter and as you testify to in this case, correct?
Correct.
You testified yesterday that the events on the timeline contained
Okay, so let us move on. The first part of that cross on day 2 I thought was brilliant because if we go back to yesterday, Alessi did a fantastic job undermining this witness's credibility. And the focus was more so on his CVs and how he conflated his educational qualifications. Okay. And as the testimony progressed yesterday, they went on to really tussle over the data itself. All right. As far as it relates to Mr. Burgess' own study, and then or at least in contrast to Mr. D's report and his study. All right. So that's where the jurors left off. So today, Alessi could have pretty much carried on with where he left off from yesterday, talking about the data. Instead, what he did was remind the jurors, he reminded the jurors that this individual is not a truthful individual. And he did so by talking about his credentials again. And that served as a reminder for the jurors to pretty much remind them of who's on the stand. So I thought that was well done without a doubt. So let us move on. We're going to move on to redirect. I actually don't know when redirect started because I did not watch or listen to most of redirect. So we just have to listen for Hank.
Did you create this diagram?
Yeah, that sounds
Defendants Lexa.
Some actual data recorded by Mr.
The first text stream event.
That is still Hank. Was this a lunch break or something?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, it sounds like
If we
Hank.
could go to the next slide, please.
Worded differently.
And the thing is, Alessi did so much damage to the prosecution's case through the cross-examination of this witness, to the extent where Brandon really had to keep this witness on the stand and go over a lot of his testimony or his report in order to try and rehabilitate him. So usually you can tell how damaging a cross-examination was, but unless it's Lori Vallow Daybell representing herself, but oftentimes you can tell how damaging cross-examination was by how much time the opposing side spend on trying to rehabilitate their own witness. And also you also get a sense of how damaging it was based on what it is that they're asking questions on again, or trying to redirect on. Alexa, can you please stop? Alexa, stop. All right, so I usually have her unplugged when I get up here. Alexa, stop. Oh, I should play music.
Software after the initial chip off that addresses being able to
Do anything new after the
That
initial
sounds like
chip off?
Alessi.
or you would not see user data within those chips.
When
They
you
have
made that
something?
analysis and concluded that there was missing data,
Okay, no, that's
gathering
Brandon.
initial data that was provided, and
That is Brandon.
you filed
would have been miscast.
who
I'm just trying to find the initial.
property?
No, I had not.
Yeah, that
Did you
sounds
have an
Brandon.
And crash data
Okay,
when you
so-
okay? So every moment
That Burla updated their software contained with.
correct.
So Burla didn't do anything new after the initial chip off with its software?
Sure. So Burla released new software after the initial chip off that addresses being able to download software via the infotainment module while it's in the vehicle. So that involves plugging a USB in to the vehicle and downloading data. That does not address the micro.
Did Burla pack up so Mr. Brennan can have a clear podium? Your question software, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate your
You
question.
said
Thank you
thank
for
you.
answering my
I don't
question.
want you to explain no more.
That's all I have at this time, Your Honor, but I have a bit to pack up so Mr. Brennan can have a clear podium.
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's fast forward. Let us fast forward. Shout out to Alessi though. He did a fantastic. We need to look him up. What's his first name? Let's see. Alessi Karen. I'm gonna search him up.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you know what a sequestration order is?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
So it would be an order to not view any testimony
Drop it.
of a trial, is my general understanding.
Does that mean that you can't watch any of it on television?
Correct.
Do you understand whether or not you can speak to attorneys about testimony? Is that precluded as well?
I'm not aware either way.
That's the
Has anybody ever spoken to you about any testimony about that occurred in this trial before you testified?
No.
Oh
they
wow,
haven't.
he works for Alessi works for Piper. I did not know that. That is a really huge law firm, and he's partner. That's a huge law firm. Trying to think. As far as these attorneys we've been seeing on court TV, I'm trying to figure out, apart from the folks that work for themselves, Alessi might actually be one. I'm trying to figure out, have I seen any other attorneys that work for these large law firms? Oh, this is surprising. Okay, so I'm on my phone right now. Okay, I'm on my phone. I'll read your messages now, folks. I'm on my phone and I am pretty much looking at Alessi's profile on the company that he works for. Okay, and what's surprising here is that he went to Albany Law School. Okay, he went to Albany Law. I mean, he graduated cum laude, so he went to Albany Law School. So why that's surprising to me is because when I worked for legal aid, my managing attorney, she was always under the impression that Albany Law School did not produce good lawyers. And that was in context of somebody that was hired. There was some girl that was hired, and she was, I believe, second choice because they wanted somebody else, but it's legal aid and salary is low. And when that first choice said no, they hired the young lady. So that is, I guess it's surprising. Somebody proved her wrong. Somebody proved that Christina wrong. So let's see. All right, what else does he do? New York State Bar Association. There's nothing else on here. I was trying to see. What else does he do? What else does he do? In 2016, in 2012, he was among the winners of the MVP Awards, honoring attorneys whose achievements in major litigation or transaction have set a new standard for accomplishment in corporate law. That is actually surprising because he does not appear to primarily focus on criminal cases. Okay, let's see. I'm just he has secured some pretty good verdicts based on what I'm seeing here. But yeah, Alessi definitely, he's the best defense attorney in this case. All right, Allie says she's up. And I'm punctual too, okay? I'm punctual because I have to be punctual because I only have about an hour. I know, Benji, that's way too early for you. That is way too early for you. Just do the replay, okay? Do the replay. All right, let's see. What else is Brennan?
Have I
Actually,
ever
no.
discussed, intimated, or suggested any information whatsoever to you about arguments, testimony, or anything about this case as it's ongoing?
Who's she?
No, you have not.
Okay.
Do you follow the rules, sir?
Yes, I do.
Have you
Sometimes.
followed them in this case?
Sometimes.
Yes, I have.
When you
Not
gave your
always,
opinions and you
sometimes.
testified, do you have any information or knowledge about this trial as it actually occurred until the point when you testified?
No, I do not.
You were asked some questions about your CV. A CV is a resume.
Oh,
Yes,
I
it
did
is.
not hear this.
And you were asked about a LinkedIn
I
account.
need to go.
Yes, I was.
Is your LinkedIn account different than your CV?
Yes, it is.
And in this case, when did you learn that your LinkedIn account was wrong or had not been updated? When was the first time you learned that?
That was yesterday.
When you started your LinkedIn account, do you remember when it was?
Okay. So this is a different style from what I've seen. Brennan do. Usually, what I've seen him do, which I thought was brilliant, is that once he begins a redirect, he usually tends to start with the last point that the defense elicited. But when it comes to this witness, he's starting off with the most damaging aspect of his cross examination. So, he, I suppose, shifts his style depending on the needs of the case.
You set it up?
Actually, let
I
me
do
look up.
not. It would have been maybe 10 years ago or more.
Do you routinely update your LinkedIn account?
No, I do not.
When you set up your LinkedIn account, the section where it asks for education, whether graduated or ongoing, do you remember filling out that section?
I don't particularly remember filling it out, but obviously I did at some point.
Oh my goodness. I just looked up Hank Brennan. Okay. So Hank Brennan looks like he works for himself. Girl, you need to go to sleep. Like you need to go to sleep. Anyways, so Hank Brennan, he works for himself, nearly 3 decades of experience. He's been in the trenches. Okay. Let me see. Oh, he does personal injury on the side. He does criminal defense. Um, I like Hank. Frankly, Hank is a brilliant attorney. All right. I was really trying to figure out what it is that he does in the sense of I was trying to figure out, does he work for another firm, but he works for himself. So I suppose it makes sense why he would be involved in this case. In any event, here's the problem. Here's the real problem. I think we've talked about this a few times with Real Thing. We've discussed it's not just anonymity as far as social media and YouTube is concerned, but it's more so in terms of what you're able to do and say on social media in the context of keyboard warriors, because I take no position. I enjoy when a party does something that's brilliant. I congratulate them or give them, a little pat on the back, tell them attaboy. And when they mess up, they've messed up. But Hank Brennan's page, on his not the website, but the Google, whatever, the landing page, and his reviews. He has 3.5. Okay, 3.5 stars. Most of the people on here are talking about Karen Reed. These are not even people that have that he's represented. They have absolutely nothing to do with his business, but they're out here. A month ago, somebody by the name of Dennis Woosley. Hank Brennan's performance in the Karen Reed case appears to rely heavily on procedural tactics and legal maneuvering rather than a compelling evidentiary case. They gave him 1 star, by the way. His aggressive approach, particularly his attempts to access privileged communications and target independent journalists. I suppose that's a press. That's a media run that's come back to bite Karen Reed, raises serious concerns about fairness and impartiality. Instead of building a case rooted in undeniable facts, Brennan seems more focused on controlling the narrative and pushing legal boundaries to his advantage. For these reasons, I would never hire Hank Brennan. You need a lawyer first to either charge with a crime or need representation in a civil matter. Anyways, his approach comes across as more about winning at all costs than seeking the truth. A good attorney should be thorough, ethical, and transparent. But Brennan's tactics suggest a willingness to bend the rules and obscure facts when it suits his agenda. If he's willing to use these questionable strategies as a prosecutor, I wouldn't trust him to act honestly in any legal capacity. That is problematic. And again, if we go back to the conversation that we had about, must have been maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, now that I think about it. But these conversations were about the positions that a lot of attorneys that offer commentary as it relates to the Karen Reed trial and any other trial that is on here. Listen, if you are going to be public, show your face on social media, you have to make sure that you're taking a position. You have to take a position that aligns with most of the people that are in fact viewing your live stream or your coverage. If not, you're going to have to be prepared for a whole bunch of random people that have not hired you, have never used your services, leaving negative reviews. So I don't know. The people are on here talking about a whole bunch of, we can read these comments. We can go over these comments. I don't know, on a day when we actually have time. I don't know that day will come. In any event, folks, let's get going. It's a lot of rambling. I've been up here way too long, but that testimony was just too crushing not to actually complete the pertinent parts of that cross-examination. So let's reconvene in the morning. I'm going to take my melatonin right now and I'm going to call it a night. Let us reconvene in the morning. I'm going to schedule that live right now. Big shout out to Ali, shout out to Benji, shout out to Fever, and shout out to the replay crew. All right. So, all right, folks, you guys have a fantastic night. I'll see you in the morning. If I don't see you in the morning, meaning you're too tired and you have to sleep in, I completely understand. I will, as far as Karen Reed, we will tackle Karen Reed again on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. I want to go back to Friday's proceedings in the Karen Reed trial. Hopefully we get to it on Thursday. That's probably what we're going to focus on, absent something out of the ordinary. Like if something unexpected just happens tomorrow, then we have to drop the plan for Thursday and move on to something else. But sheesh, it's a lot going on. All right, folks, I really need to go. Love you guys. Bye.